to another video from Egne. Today we're going to get into proper reform use and how you should have your reform set for combat, as well as for pangolin and groundhog. But before we get into that, as always, I got to get into giving a shout out to a sponsor. This video is sponsored by Aptoid, where you get with my code anywhere from 5 to 40% off all in-game purchases. There will be a full video in the description below, as well as a link to my Discord, where for the first 3 months, any revenue that I get from any of my sponsors or YouTube will be given back to the people. We've already done a $500 giveaway, and it will be broken up in a giveaways of $500. So subscribe, bring your friends, and we'll see where this can go. All right, so with reforms, we're going to get into combat basics and where you have it set up to begin with. So let me find my reform pool. So what you always want to do is you want to make sure that every account usually has a primary. Like I'm a shooter main, but I second in Guardians. So you have your primary and your secondary units that you use as the most. You usually have a unit you don't really use at all, and so this is the method that I use as far as maintaining if you're basically using 2 units. So for me, because my Guardians are my secondary, what I have in there, all these are all generic and the same. Health, attack, defense. You shouldn't swap them out for anything else, and you can't really. I believe that those are actually set in place, but your left and right side are ones that you can do. So for me, because I use Guardians as secondary as a defense, what I have in there is Garrison defense and Garrison attack. Now, what that basically is allowing is when I get attacked, I get an increased defense and attack, and because Guardians kind of run on defense as it is, it benefits them in the long run. Now, if I was to go and do pangolins with them, what I would do is I would switch out these two for invasion attack, and if I'm doing pangolins, then I would be damage against pangolin. The reason being, and even though invasion technically is meant for like when you're invading a hill, the reason being is because if you're doing pangolin and you're doing it in raider like you should be, the invasion actually stacks onto your let me get the name of this building right, your trophy storeroom, which is a raider specific building to where it increases the attack of your of your different marches, etc., etc. So that's why you do it, because it's not actually helping by itself, but it increases the multiplier of your pro troop attack. Alright, and then after that, going into combat, I use invasion attack, invasion health. All these are all the same. Now, people will say, like on Island or whatnot, about switching it out for like attack against siege and station ants, etc. Those only work versus a building. So increasing them to be able to hit harder in the building if you're a younger account, okay, I can see the logic and the use and practicality in that. But when you are a more established account and buildings don't really matter, and your alliance has no problem taking out said buildings, those particular reforms do not do anything, because if it's against a player, it does not help you whatsoever. Now, on top of that, you could also use, like if shooter was your secondary, you can use Garrison health. Garrison health will help you, because shooters lack in health. So instead of defense, like you would for Guardians, you want to use Garrison health, because that will increase the actual health of your ants, so that when they hit you, your ants last a little bit longer. And because shooters are so lacking in the health department, That'll help you out with that. And then what I do is for my carriers, which I don't use, what I do is I throw in my damage dealt to pangolin and damage dealt to groundhog. That way, if there is an upgrade available for them, I can see it at any given time, be able to put them in. And because I don't use them in my marches at all, unless I am doing pangolin, that's the best place to be able to put them. So whatever troop you don't use, I would suggest putting those two skills into a slot just so you can passively be upgrading them as you get the material to do so. Now, if you were a carrier main, you'd most certainly want invasion attack, invasion health in those slots. If you use it as a secondary, you don't really have a lot of good options with that one, to be honest, to use it as a secondary. But in that case, you definitely want Garrison attack and Garrison health to be as your defense. Anyway, I hope this all helped you out, and we'll see you in the next video. Eggman is out.